Welcome to Payne on Politics, a podcast where host Dr. Gregory Payne of Emerson College sits down with fellow experts to discuss the current state of politics, public opinion, and global affairs. In a world growing increasingly complex, communication and critical thinking is key. This only makes the Emerson motto, expression necessary to evolution, more true.
Hello, this is Gregory Payne, the Chair of Communication Studies at Emerson College, the first communications department in the country, and also co-director of the Emerson Blanquerna Center for Global Communication. We are here at the International Academy of Business Disciplines in one of my favorite cities, New Orleans, and I'm talking to a colleague, friend, someone who's now the director of the School of Communication at one of my favorite schools, Virginia Tech, John Tedesco. Great to see you, my friend John.
Greg, always a pleasure to be in your company.
Yes. Now listen, you have to tell me, first of all, what's it like being the director of the School of Communication, which of course Bob did such a great job in the past.
Yeah. It's exciting. I've not been in a position of leadership before,
But you've been leading the way in so many areas, maybe not formally.
Well, thank you, but so this is exciting. I'm learning new things. I always want to keep learning and growing, and so this is a great opportunity to do that. Yeah.
Listen, I know one thing that you said is you've got a big event coming up, your anniversary for Virginia Tech School of Communication. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we started awarding communication degrees in 1976, and we've gone through a number of changes since then. We were one degree at the time, and now we have 5 different programs, and so it'll be 50 years that we'll be awarding degrees in 2026. So we're looking forward to that, getting excited, and trying to reconnect with some alumni and make sure they join in the excitement with us. Yeah.
So now, John, your 5 programs at Virginia Tech, what are they?
So advertising is our newest program. We just launched that this fall. Sports media and analytics is,
Which we talked about.
yes, and that is now our largest program.
Amazing.
280 majors.
Right.
Public relations, broadcast or multimedia journalism, and communication studies.
Right, well that is exciting. I know that you and I talked a bit about maybe some collaborative opportunities for us with our sports comm major. One thing I also wanted to talk to you about is you and I have known each other for a number of years, and we've had some people that have inspired both of us. I know that, of course, our good old SIU Saluki, Linda Cade, and then Judy Trent. What do you remember most about working with Linda? And then we'll get to Judy.
Generosity is kind of the first word that I think of when I think about Linda Cade. It's probably the most significant relationship in my life outside of my parental relationship.
Yes, and she wasn't parental.
Yes. We were able to travel together and work closely together. But whenever I approached Linda and I had a question, she always had time. And so generosity of time, generosity of spirit, and it's something I've tried to strive for ever since I saw the model of Linda Cade.
But you know, I'm talking to your students and talking to Brandy and others, and I know myself with the ABS as well as in this organization, people always say that you take time, and I think that's why you're so student-centered. So I think she's rubbed off a great deal.
I sure hope so, because
Yes.
it would be flattering just to be a small portion of what Linda Cade represented for the field.
Yeah, you know, another icon that both of us treasured, and someone that we missed dearly, and we would always meet at NCA, and sometimes we'd see her in Iowa. She would always gather her troops, and they would come to New Hampshire for the ideal candidate, is Judy Trent. Tell me about your times with Judy, and what do you remember most about someone who just had that sparkle and was always dressed to the nines?
Yeah. Well, I first came across the name Judy Trent as an undergraduate student in a course of media and politics, and we used the Trent and Friedenberg political campaign communication textbook. It wasn't until I was in my doctoral program and started going to conferences that I actually met Judy. And I was intimidated, shocked, but immediately put at ease at how welcoming and inviting and interested Judy was in me. And I tried to...
She chose one of her prized children.
Well, she had this knack for making people feel like they were the most important person in the room, when oftentimes she was the most important person in the room if you looked at resume and accomplishments. So it was quite a gift that Judy had. Yeah.
Yes, I remember she would come and we would have Emerson students go up, and I remember one time Emerson students at times could get blinded by celebrities, so she said, Greg, Your students are now with people at NBC, and they're talking with people from CNN, and I still have surveys to get to. So can you call them and have them do the dirty work, so to speak? John, in terms of today, you and I, of course, trained in rhetoric, and we face, I think, a real challenge, and that is trying to ensure that we have critical thinking when you've got so many different means of communication, no longer NBC, ABC, CBS, or Walter Cronkite. What's your thoughts? How do you impart to your professors as well as your students the importance of critical thinking skills with so many avenues of information?
Yeah, we are in a very difficult time, I guess, for communication in the sense that the sources are so vast, but in terms of the credibility of these sources. So it's really important that we emphasize getting to the bottom of the information that's being presented rhetorically,
Yes.
And for the credence, the credibility. And so it's checking multiple sources, kind of verifying the information. It's important that we move through this current space and environment and strengthen the role of communication and not have it diminished by actors who want to use it for gain instead of for good.
Well, you know, we were over in Barcelona, and I was talking to one of our students who now works with the European Union, and they said that's what they were attempting to do, is to, again, go back to debate, argumentation skills, critical thinking skills. Now, you're a very busy man. I'm always impressed by, you know, your scholarly work, the quantitative expertise, and I'd like to say thank you once again for being a great mentor to Spencer, America's favorite poster, as I call him. But you also are known to be quite a culinary artist. So why do you like to cook? What does that do for you in terms of balance? And what's your favorite food?
Yeah. I am Italian and Irish by heritage, but I think my favorite cuisine to cook is Italian. And I'm starting to dabble with Asian cuisine because it's just different, unique, learning new ingredients. But other folks have asked me that question, and I say it really is a time for me when I get home from work and I walk the dogs to kind of decompress and put some energy and excitement into cooking, and it's a bit of a distraction, if you will. And so it's a way for me to kind of reposition myself or recast and let go of the work of the day and move forward with my home life. Yeah.
You know, that's one of the similarities. I found the same thing. I like to do that. I did not used to in my earlier days, but now I love to just do, and I'll do basic things like, you know, chicken soup or chili or roast or whatever, so I love that. Turning to a conference that we both attend regularly, it's not probably the most, I would say, high-intensity conference like NCA or ICA or some of the global and national conferences. What is it that makes International Academy of Disciplines so unique?
I try to tell people that when you go to the big national conferences, they still seem impersonal. And if you can find a few people to connect with there, that would be important, and it might help you navigate your way through the big conference. But IABD, and the reason I've sought it out and continue to come every year, it is like a family. It is small, it is intimate, supportive, it is the perfect place to test ideas, to grow, and to see collegiality. Because I find that the folks who are committed to IABD come back every year, and so you can create those relationships and trust and credence, and know that when you share your work, you're going to get good feedback and support from the colleagues that are here.
Well, you know, I will say that students who have come, they always value your words. Many of them will say, be sure and tell John Tedesco to say hello. But John, what I would like to think, I know that we have a track chair luncheon, but when we think about people sitting at the table of rhetoric who you really want to make sure you have a good conversation with, gastrodiplomacy, all that, John Tedesco is one of them. So thank you for being on Pain on Politics here in New Orleans. And I guess I would ask you, what restaurant are you going to be eating before you leave?
So some of my favorite restaurants are here, but the restaurant I put highest on my list when I come to New Orleans is Bayona.
Bayonne? I don't know that one. Tell me about the menu.
I enjoy sweetbreads. Those are not something easy to come by in Southwest Virginia.
Yes.
So when I get to a metropolitan area, I look for a restaurant that might offer those, because that's something I don't prepare for myself, but I do enjoy so much. And Bayonne has a wonderful menu. So if you're not into sweetbreads, try something else there. It's going to be divine.
Well, what I would say for all the people joining us on Pain on Politics, when you see John Tedesco, whether it's at a conference, whether it's at Bayona, or whether he's just walking down the street, know that you've got a friend. It's all about family. And John, thank you for being a trusted and valued friend.
Thank you, Greg.
Go Hokies.
Appreciate it.
All right, take care.